Good afternoon. So recently, I've been traveling quite a bit for work, and whenever I'm home in New York City, I love to get a good workout in. And as with most things in New York City, there are limitless options when it comes to the gym. There's practically a different gym on every other block. And while I typically like to mix it up, go to different places, recently, I found myself going to the same gym, a cardio boxing gym, multiple times a week, every week. And it got me thinking, what is it about this place that has me being so committed? What is it about this place that has me being so loyal? And the other day, I went to the workout class and I finished up, and as I'm walking home, it hit me. While no doubt I like the workout, I even more so like the trainer, Chris, specifically how Chris makes me feel seen and supported. For example, when you arrive at this class, Chris, the trainer, greets you by name. He gives you a high five and he says, "Welcome back. It's great to see you. I can't wait to work out with you today." Then mid-class, he jumps off his stage and he runs up to you and says, "Let's go, keep going. You got this." Then at the end of the class, he runs to the front of the room before anyone can leave, and he gives every single person a high five goodbye, and he says, "Great job today. You crushed it. I can't wait to see you soon, and I appreciate you coming in." And every time I leave Chris's class, I leave like this, with the biggest uncontrollable smile, because of how Chris makes me feel. And I'm not alone. This class is booked full almost every single time, 60 plus people deep. And that's no small feat in a big city like New York City. And it's experiences just like that which have shaped my body of work over the last several years around understanding the impact we can have on those we lead. And it's made me obsessed with this one single question, which is this: how do we create a culture so good where our people feel so cared for that they never want to leave? And over the last several years, I've become fascinated to answer this question and to understand how the most effective leaders create an incredible culture where people can come and do their best work, grow, and feel cared for. I mean, so much has changed so rapidly over the last several years. Retirements are increasing, technology is changing, AI is here to stay, remote and hybrid work are the new norm. I think we can all admit that creating a culture where people can come and do their best work and feel cared for has never been more complex than right now. And it's never been more vital. And unfortunately, the leadership strategies that got us here won't take us where we need to go next. While there are many things we can do to effectively lead, I can't help but think about the significant role that care played in my professional life. By the time I was 24 years old, I built my business to several million in sales, utilizing care as the backbone to build a thriving workplace and culture. Only 8 years later, within that exact same company, lack of understanding how to deliver care from my business partner to me led me to make an early exit, earlier than I ever expected. And following that exit, I spent the better part of the last several years studying what makes great leaders great, and specifically how the most effective leaders lead in this new world of work. And what emerged is this: the most effective leaders have two unique differentiators. Number one, they do more than merely manage results. It's only half the equation. And number two, they care deeply about the people who deliver those results. I've distilled down my decade of learning, and while I typically share three simple, actionable, research-backed pillars to help leaders infuse more care into their leadership practice, today I'm going to share just a glimpse of one of those pillars to give you a sense of how I help leaders make care their competitive advantage. Now, typically when I talk about this idea of care in the workplace, some people will stop me and they'll say, whoa, Danny, slow down. I care about my people, and they know that. They get good salaries, they have good benefits, unlimited coffee, kombucha on tap. Oh, and they even get branded swag once a year, and they love it. And I say to those people, that's awesome, as you should do all of those things. And while those things used to be effective, today, that's the ante to play the game. Today, that's the ante to recruit top talent. But how do we engage and retain that top talent that we worked so hard to recruit? And that's what I break down in my full-length keynote. And then there's always some people who, when they hear this word care, they say, care? I don't know, it sounds a little bit soft, a little bit mushy. Out of all the things I could do, is care really going to make a significant difference in how my people perform and engage at work? McKinsey actually put out a survey post-COVID looking at the top factors driving both attrition and retention in the workforce today. The number one factor wasn't job salary. It wasn't career growth and opportunity. Get this, it was love. Care matters, now more than ever before. And as the world continues to become increasingly complex, understanding how to effectively deliver care to our people is going to be our advantage in the future of work. Now, one of the pillars I typically break down in my keynote is this idea of seek understanding. As leaders, it's vital that we seek to understand those we serve, that we don't assume that we know what matters most to our people, but rather that we seek to understand what truly matters to them. And we do that by sitting down and getting to know our people and understanding who they are when they come to work and their motivations, that we seek to understand their fears, their anxieties, their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations. The better we can understand our people, the better we can serve them. I'll never forget when I personally learned this valuable lesson on the connection between understanding our people and loyalty and performance. I was in my early 20s building a manufacturing company. My business was starting to grow. We had just opened up an office in Hong Kong. We hired our first employee. Her name was Circle. And for the first 6 months or so, Circle and I never met. When we talk, we just talk over the good old-fashioned phone calls. I mean, this was before the times of Zoom and Google Meet. And on my first trip over to China to finally meet Circle, I wanted to be hyper-intentional about our limited time together. I didn't want to only go to factory partners to advance the business, but I wanted to bring Circle with me. I wanted to get her to know her better. And I didn't realize it then, but this simple decision would be the rocket fuel we needed to take the business to the next level. And on the flight over, I'm thinking, how can I make sure that by the end of this trip, I deeply understand who Circle is? Not who she is in her role, but who she is in her life. How do I understand her fears, her anxieties, her hopes, her dreams? And most importantly, what's most important to her? 16 hours later, I land in China, and we hit the ground running. We meet each other, we get right in the car, we go to our first factory visit. We have an incredible meeting, and after I tell Circle, let's go and eat the local style cuisine. I thought, what an incredible way to understand who she is by sitting down over a meal and learning more about her and her culture. So we sit down at this local spot, and I tell Circle, you order the local stuff, and I'm good with anything. I want to experience local life. So she orders the food, and I'm sitting there, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm jet lagged, and I'm thinking I would kill for a bowl of fried rice, maybe some dumplings. I mean, this is my first meal in China, and I'm excited. A couple minutes later, in the waiter walks, he puts this plate down on the table, and I'm looking at it, and I have no idea what it is. I pick it up, it's wrapped in aluminum foil, smell it, smells like food. Circle goes, local style. I said, yeah, but Circle, what is it? She said, duck head. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever eaten a duck's head before, but it's not very protein rich. You hold it by the beak in the aluminum foil, that's what that's for, and you munch the little bit of meat that's on it. And I turned to Circle and I say, do you normally like eating the duck head? She said, it's so-so. And I said, okay, if I'm willing to try it, are you? She said, of course, I've eaten plenty of these duck heads. So we spent that afternoon eating duck's head. Eventually I got my bowl of fried rice, connecting, learning more about one another. And for the remainder of that trip, whenever we sat down for a meal, we talk about life outside of work, our culture, our traditions, our families, our hobbies, our passions. And of course, it's not about the duck head, but rather, Circle appreciated that I took the time, the energy, the effort to understand who she is and what was most important to her. And through that, her commitment to me and my organization grew as a result. And fortunately for all of you, you probably don't have to go and eat a duck's head to start to understand your people. But understand, the better you understand your people, the better you can serve them. In my 8 years of building my business, Circle was by far my most loyal employee. She'd come in on weekends not because she had to, but because she wanted to. She was responsible for millions in sales and growth, and she'd often share with colleagues and coworkers how feeling understood made a material difference in how she showed up each and every day. When I finally left my business, Circle pulled me aside and she wanted to let me know that if I ever opened up a new company, that she wanted to be my first phone call because she'd come and join in a heartbeat. When we take the time to deeply understand our people, not surface level, but deeply understand who they are when they come to work, their motivations, their goals, their aspirations, the better we can serve them. Today, we barely scratch the surface. But in my longer and tailored keynotes, I take audiences on a journey, sharing personal stories, stories from other leaders, case studies, and more, to help leaders understand why leading with care isn't a competitive advantage, but rather the competitive advantage in the future of work. I also break down the culture of care framework, a simple, actionable, research-backed framework to help leaders understand how to make small shifts in their leadership practice to foster increased levels of safety, understanding, connection, and more, so their leaders leave better equipped to meet the challenges of the day. As we build care into our everyday practice, we have this opportunity to rise above the many challenges plaguing organizations today, from disengagement to stagnation, turnover, and more. Because when we understand how to take care of what matters most, our people, they'll take care of the rest. I want to thank Angela for putting on this incredible event. I thank all of you for coming out today and being so present with all of us here. Look, as I think about the future of work, I can't help but think about the impact we can have on those we lead. We have this incredible opportunity to give our people the greatest gift, a level of care so deep that it impacts their life beyond just their role. And maybe we're asking the wrong question when we come to work. Maybe it's not, how do we attract and retain great talent? Maybe the question we need to all be asking is this: how do we create a level of care so profound our people can't help but care back? Thank you.